there's so much to address. And I know that at this point, most of you have had the chance to at least start to experience those first waves of grief, those waves of disgust, those waves of anger and rage, right? So what I'm seeing so much is really just this combination of sadness and anger really woven together. And at the same time, what's here is that we're about to see the power of real love in action more than we ever have before, more powerfully than we ever have before. So that's really the top thing that I'm just here to come tell you in this moment, is that to not underestimate the power of your own love, to not underestimate the power of the love that you are. And when I say that, I realize that there's a good chance, when I say don't underestimate the power of your own love, don't underestimate the power of the love that you are. Again, there's all of this shock and disappointment and grief and disgust that's there too. And I totally understand if then you say to me, yeah, but Rebecca, I did love, and look at what fucking happened, right? I did love, and look at what's here, right? And I understand that. And that's why I'm checking in today to help with moving through the layers of this and with looking at some particular things about this. So one is that overall, whether it's in your own life personally or in a collective situation like this, we cannot actually resolve anything before we are in full awareness, honestly, of the complete reality of what we're dealing with. Okay? So if you, I don't know, think of any situation in life where if you think you need a Band-Aid and what you really have is a broken bone, you need the bone set. And it might be more painful to acknowledge that what you have is a broken bone and not just a surface. Boy, there's a lot coming through. Not just a surface scrape on your skin, right? It's more painful. It's more deeply painful to be fully aware of and to acknowledge that what you have is a broken bone. But you will not set that bone and heal if you're not aware that that's what's going on, if you don't honestly acknowledge that that's what's going on. Okay? So what's happened in the US just now, and what is happening, is that awareness process happening. So rather than people hanging their hopes on, okay, we're ready to move forward, when lots of people not only are not ready to move forward, but are actively looking to bring about something else, right? It's not until the reality of the situation, no matter how deeply disturbing it is, no matter how ugly it is, no matter how painful it is, it's not until it's fully, honestly acknowledged in complete awareness that anything new can be created. Okay? So, and that's part of the shock in the collective right now, right? Is having to acknowledge the things that people really were invested in preferring not to acknowledge, right? Because, listen, if it was comfortable to acknowledge them, We'd have done it long before now. But it wasn't comfortable. It's always been painful to look at certain realities. So the tendency is, okay, well, how about we just fix it without really looking at that. And we'll go from feeling, kind of bad to feeling better without ever having to go into feeling really painful. And that's just not the way growth works, and it's not the way healing works, and it's not the way creation works. There's no healing or growth or new creation, again, without full awareness of the reality of whatever you were actually dealing with, okay? Because otherwise, what you're trying to heal or resolve or create new from, there's a complete misalignment. You're working with something that doesn't exist, right? You're trying to heal something. If you're not acknowledging the reality of the situation, even with the depth of the pain, and you try to heal it from there, you're trying to heal something that doesn't exist. So you're not going to be able to heal it. You're trying to resolve something that doesn't exist. So you're not going to be able to resolve it. You're trying to create a new something from something that doesn't exist. So you're not going to be able to. What exists, no matter how ugly and dark and gruesome it is, that's what you have to work with. Okay? That is what can be healed. That's what can be resolved. That's what something new can be created from. So let's work with this a little bit. I feel a lot of readiness for movement on this. So that's why I went ahead and came on here now at this point. So nice deep breath. Just let yourself connect with whatever feels like the center of you in this moment. And you may feel some combination of, because whenever there are these big collective shifts, it also kind of opens the door for you personally. There's an extra opportunity for you to apply that same whatever it is on a very personal level too, right? So whether there's some reality of a situation that you previously didn't want to fully be aware of, fully acknowledge, fully be present in the recognition of on a large scale, with yourself personally or some of both, just let yourself breathe into that now. Let yourself be face to face with it, raw, exactly as it is. As ugly as it is. Letting your presence expand. Letting your capacity for presence deepen. And as always, you being present with something and letting yourself reconnect with that expansive peace and love that you naturally are, that becomes more easily apparent to you when you are deeply present, that is not at the exclusion or the expense of all of whatever your emotions that are arising. In fact, it's exactly the opposite. Your acknowledgement of all of that and your willingness to embrace it rather than reject it is what magnifies and strengthens and deepens your presence. So whatever grief, despair, sadness, rage, fear, frustration, bewilderment, confusion, whatever is also there, let that come up too. Let yourself Just experience it exactly as it is in this moment. Because this is what gives you access to love. This is what gives you deeper access to the love that you are. This is what lets you embody and live and anchor and wield this love. Not just as a concept, right? Not just as, oh, we can love everything and blah, 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 blah. I mean on the ground, in the physical, expressions of what love is. And that's why this has been, sent such a shock through people, because it's a demonstration of what it is. It's a demonstration of the embodiment of fear, separation, hatred, selfishness. So this is your invitation to embody more deeply than ever love, oneness, peace, compassion, joy, delight, all of it. And again, not just as ideas, anchoring that in, embodying it, and creating the expressions of that in your life and in the world, right? The expressions of love, the expressions of oneness, the expressions of peace, the expressions of joy create things that work for entire communities, right? Create things that treat people equally in material ways, right? Not just in theory. So your love is so incredibly powerful, but the frustration and the sadness and the confusion that you might feel right now is not that love didn't work, right? It's just that there's more layers of it that you can embody. There are deeper layers of it that you can embody. And what gives you access to those deeper layers of love, those deeper layers of peace that you get to embody and then bring into expression in the world is that, remember, that's what I started this whole live with, is that first step is to be willing to always see whatever the reality actually is, and to acknowledge that, no matter how deeply painful it is to see it exactly as it is. Because otherwise, all of what you're trying to resolve, all of what you're trying to heal, all of what you're trying to love, it doesn't exist. Something else does that's waiting for you to acknowledge it. That's waiting for you to be willing to be unflinchingly present face to face with the depth of that pain. So again, nice, deep, gentle breath all the way through your whole body. And then let yourself bring your attention and your breath right into the center of your heart. And just be curious, what's there? What's there right now in your heart that needs your attention, that needs your presence, that has something to show you? And it might be so many things. There may be all of these raw pockets of pain in your heart that have been waiting for this moment, that have been waiting for this moment for you to go to that place in your heart and put your hand there and say, I see you, I feel you. So let yourself do that now. Let yourself be curious and just walk around in the center of your heart and explore, and let yourself be present with whatever is there. Feel the pain, feel the grief, feel the heartbreak. And also wander into that little place in your heart behind some place that you hadn't seen before, where it turns out there's an overwhelming amount of love and joy that you didn't even know was there. Let yourself sit down in the center of your heart and notice the flame flickering there. And let yourself be present with it as it starts to grow. Let yourself be completely present with that light in the center of your heart as it expands, as it strengthens. As it starts to bring a deeper love than you've ever experienced before to everything else that's going on in your heart. Again, all of the stored up old sadness that's reactivated now, all of it. Just keep sitting in that space in the very center of your heart, letting yourself notice what it feels like, what happens when that starts to ripple through your whole body. As that flame expands and intensifies and strengthens and shows you new layers of itself, letting yourself experience these aspects of love, these flavors of the depths of love that you didn't even know existed. Because again, it's love, it's love, it's love. Any one of us, if we come here and live these lives without loving fully, loving each other, just being love, then we have to wonder what we were doing, what we came here for at all. So this foundation of love will move you forward. And this is also the key to, again, all of the practical questions that I get from people about life, where, especially in situations like this, where, they find out that someone they cared about is not in favor of everyone having the rights that everyone should have, right? But they're afraid to lose that person. And what they're really afraid of losing is love. And I'm here to remind you today, again, so deeply more than ever today, that there is no limit on love. There is no limit on how much love you have access to. So again, in reality, the easiest way, what lets you naturally have incredibly clear boundaries with people in your life, or the ease of, not clinging to things that don't really work, is more love, recognizing and embracing and letting yourself experience the infinite love that you always have access to. The more that you love everyone, then the less you are going to be tempted to let relationships that are unhealthy continue because of that belief that you require that relationship in order to have access to love. Okay, I'm going to say that again. The more that you experience the love that you truly are in its infiniteness, in its infinity, and just love everyone, then the less it's going to feel like you need certain people that maybe are not actually aligned for you. So loving more does not mean giving more passes for bad behavior to people that you think you need love from. That's not what loving more is, and that's what it's very often mistaken for. Loving more means recognizing and letting yourself experience more of the fact that you always have infinite access to all love because you are it. Loving more means loving everyone so that then it's very easy to be clear and discerning about who you do and don't be in relationship with. Loving more does not mean less discernment. Loving more does not mean less clarity. Loving more goes hand in hand with more clarity, more discernment. So again, nice breath right into the center of your heart. And letting that whole energy of love itself combined with how that comes through you, right? That essence of you interwoven with that universal infinite love. And letting that rise up, letting that expand, letting it strengthen, letting it intensify, and letting it radiate out as it is. For you to just be love, not for your mind and your ego to sit and say what it thinks love is and what it thinks it should do with love and where it's going to send some love and what effect it thinks that love is supposed to then have. Because that's something short of love. Because it has agendas and conditions, and it's manipulation. So let yourself now really surrender into the depths of the love that you truly have access to. The love that burns so high and so bright that it's almost hard to imagine. The love that has such a deep foundation of peace underneath it that it is unshakable. The love that will both light things up and burn away what's dead. Letting the power of that spread through all of your body now. Giving your body permission to relax into the peace that it brings. beautiful. So I love you so much, and I just invite you to remember the love that you are.